Why is it that most people's greatest regrets are sexual? Why is it if you're a pastor or a counselor, or even as a friend, when somebody comes to me or to a counselor and says, you know, I wanted to meet with you, I want to tell you something that I've never told anyone before. It's never, I was at the mall and I backed my car into the car across the parking lot and I didn't leave a note. Why is it not, as soon as somebody starts down the path of, I've never told anyone this before, I need to talk to you about something that I've been carrying a long time, why do I automatically know this has something to do with sexuality? The answer is simple. It's because your sexuality and your sexual behavior, it is not just physical. And we live in a culture that wants to make it simple, surface, and physical. And I don't even know her name. And it was spring break, and we were both drunk. And she got pregnant, and I said I'd pay for an abortion. She didn't want to pay for have an abortion. That's her business. It's her kid. And I'm just moving on with my life. We want to treat it like it's just physical. But in our heart, in our gut, and in our experience, eventually we come crashing into this reality. It's not just physical. And to treat it as if it is to hurt ourselves. Now, men, I don't want you to get nervous during this next illustration, especially in light of what we've just been talking about. Okay. Sigh of relief. Most of you are familiar with the Stradivarius, the name Stradivarius. The Stradivarius is actually a fine, very expensive musical instrument that comes from Antonio Stradivari. He lived in, I think it's called Cremona, Italy. And back in the mid-1700s and the late 1700s, his family, beginning with him, crafted these amazing, amazing, amazing instruments. Thank you very much. The Stradivarius, it was almost viewed as a supernatural sound. The tone and the quality of the Stradivarius was so unusual, many people tried to copy it, and no one was able to copy it. They thought it was the wood, they thought it was the craftsmanship, but the sound of the Stradivarius, especially in the golden age of the Stradivari family, was considered mystical, magical. So consequently, these are very fragile and very fine and very expensive and very sought after instruments. In fact, Napoleon Bonaparte's Stradivarius was actually sold not too long ago for $3.6 million. Now, I want to ask a question real quick. Are there any musicians anywhere here on the front few rows? Anybody that plays a musical instrument? Yeah. What instrument do you play? A what? Percussion? Okay. Have you ever held a Stradivarius before? No. Okay. I'll tell you what. Would you stand up for just a second? Yeah. Would you take this? Yeah. And would you take it back around to that guy? Would you hold up your hand? I want you to have, and when you're finished with it, what I'd like you to do is just pass it down the row so everybody can look at it, and just pass it around the audience. And when you're finished passing it around, maybe somebody could put it over here on the steps in the case, and I'll get it later if I think to remember to take it back with me. Would anybody do that with a Stradivarius? No. Do you know that we live in a culture full of people? Maybe you're one of those people that do that with your sexuality all the time. Now listen to me. Do you know how much more valuable you are to God than that piece of wood with cable and glue and string? Do you know how much more fragile your sexuality is than a piece of wood, no matter who made it and when they were made and what it was traded for? Do you know how much more valuable and fragile your sexuality is? That can be replaced. Newsflash, you cannot be replaced. It's not going to simply be about creating more humans. It's not going to simply be about procreation. I'm going to create something that they're going to experience with each other that's going to reflect what I want them to experience with me. It is going to be the ultimate expression of intimacy. Full on, passionate, fearless, know me as I am, no fear of comparison, no fear of criticism, full on, passionate, fearless coming together, and it's going to be like nothing else, and it's going to be fragile, and it's going to be powerful, and I'm going to give it to the human race as a gift. But I hope they're careful with it, because as powerful as it is and as fragile as it is, it can be broken